Hi, and welcome to How Humans Heal. I'm Dr. Doni Wilson, and today I want to talk with you all about stress types. I think it's essential for every single one of you to know your stress type because it's essential for strategically and effectively recovering from stress. So here's the thing. First of all, I'm giving you a concept that is recovery from stress. I think that too much of the time we anticipate that we're never going to recover from stress. We expect that there's going to be stress and it's eventually going to cause health issues, and we assume that there's nothing we can do about it. And I want to break that myth for you. I want you to know that even if you're going to the doctor and they're telling you that your high blood pressure, your anxiety, your weight gain, your digestive issues, whatever it is, autoimmunity, chronic infections, recurrent infections, or even cancer and dementia, even if your doctor is telling you that it was caused by stress, that does not mean that you can't do anything about it. I wasn't willing to accept that as an answer anyway when I was having years and years of recurrent migraines. I thought to myself, there has got to be something else I can do about this. And there's got to be something I can do about recovering from stress so that I can reverse my health issues and symptoms. And so that's what I've been doing for the past 22 years. I've been in practice. I've been helping myself recover from stress, and I've been helping thousands of patients recover from stress. And in the process, I've identified these stress types. And this is what I want to share with you today. I've also identified my stress recovery protocol. And all of this is in my new book, which you can see over my shoulder here. And this is the advanced copy. Master Your Stress, Reset Your Health. Master Your Stress, Reset Your Health. Just put that in at Amazon, and you're going to have it pop right up so you can order it right away and get it into your hands so that you can start solving your health issues. In this book, I help you to identify your stress type. I have a questionnaire in the book. I also now have that questionnaire on my website. So if you go to drdoni.com, which is, you can spell it out, DOCTORDONI.com, that quiz is going to pop up, or you could go to /stress quiz, and you're going to get the stress type quiz based on my research. And this is going to tell you what your most likely stress type is. And then you're going to want to have the book, because in the book, I explain exactly how to recover from stress based on your stress type, which from my experience and my opinion, that's really the only effective way to recover from stress. If we try to recover from stress just by guessing or by assuming that we might have high cortisol, and maybe you even taking supplements to help with your cortisol, or you're maybe taking supplements to help with your adrenal glands, or maybe you're taking medications to solve some of the symptoms caused by stress, these things are not really getting you to the point of recovering from stress. I'm telling you, what we need to be aiming for is optimal cortisol levels throughout the day and optimal adrenaline levels. And that's possible even if you're still stressed. So even if you, of course, we have a job, or you're running a business, or you are a parent and you have children, or you have parents and you're doing caretaking, or you're moving, or you're planning a wedding or a different event in your life, or you had the loss of a loved one, even the loss of a pet. There's so many things that happen as humans in life that are going to be what can trigger a stress response in us, and it can cause our cortisol and adrenaline levels to get out of balance. And when that happens, it then causes a domino effect throughout our bodies, causing digestive issues, hormone issues, issues with our immune system and our neurotransmitters. And that's where all the symptoms come from. So if you're wondering, why am I feeling tired? Why am I feeling anxious? Why am I in pain? Why do I have weight gain? It's because stress, cortisol, adrenaline have disrupted your levels in your body. And that's why the symptoms are there, to try to tell you that your body needs help recovering from stress. When there's too much stress and not enough anti-stress, we're going to end up with health issues. So we need to add in anti-stress to get it into balance. But how do you know what anti-stress to add for your body and how to do it in the most effective way? Well, you need to know your stress type first. So that's what I'm going to describe to you, and that's what's in this book. So the stress types, there's 5 stress types. The first one is called a stress magnet. A stress magnet stress type tends to have high cortisol and or adrenaline part of the day or all of the day. The way I know this for sure is I'm going to measure your cortisol levels at 4 different times a day: the morning, the midday, the evening, the bedtime. And how do I know your adrenaline levels? I'm going to measure them as well. We can measure cortisol in urine or saliva. We can measure adrenaline in urine. And for a $350 test, we get this information about where is your cortisol and adrenaline based on your stress exposure. What's happening in your body. And it's the best stress test out there is to actually know how your stress hormones are responding to stress. And once we know how your body's responding to stress, then I can specifically guide you to recover, because we have so much research. We have research on diet that helps for different stress types. We have research on other recovery activities based on your stress type. We know which herbs, which nutrients, how to exercise based on your stress type. And this is because I went through all the research and reviewed and read all of it until I could see and identify how to clearly make your stress recovery plan based on your stress type. Okay, so the second stress type is blah and blue. Blah and blue is essentially the opposite of a stress magnet. The blah and blue stress type has low cortisol and low adrenaline part of the day or all of the day. I tend to be the blah and blue stress type when I am under a lot of stress and wasn't giving myself enough anti-stress. I go into the blah and blue pattern. This is the thing I find is that we have a tendency, each of us has a unique tendency when we're under a lot of stress to go toward one of these stress types. When we're in stress mode or survival mode, that's where we go, straight to our stress type. That's why I want you to know what yours is. And the blah and blue tends to be tired and unmotivated. You have to really push yourself to be able to get through your day. And at the same time, you usually like to get a lot of stuff done during the day. So actually, a lot of people who are blah and blue are high achievers, and then they end up burning themselves out. Whereas the stress magnets also are high achievers, but their cortisol and adrenaline stay way too high all the time. It helps them get done what they're trying to get done, but it ends up creating other health issues along the way. Okay, so number 3, the stress type number 3 is the night owl. Night owl has high cortisol or adrenaline in the evening or even in the middle of the night, and it usually keeps you up at night, makes it hard to fall asleep, or wakes you up in the middle of the night or in the early morning with your mind racing. Because in the night is not when we need high cortisol and adrenaline. We're trying to sleep, right? So if you're having trouble with getting to sleep, staying asleep, you might be the night owl. And if we test your cortisol before you go to bed, we're going to find out for sure. The 4th stress type is sluggish and stressed. The key with this stress type is to understand that you have high cortisol at certain times a day combined with low adrenaline. So here you have cortisol that's stimulating and adrenaline that's too low that makes you feel tired. And so you have this spurts of energy. The cortisol gives you a spurt of energy in the morning, but then you run out of steam and you're like, I was going to get all this stuff done today, but never mind, I got to go take a rest. And then you go, okay, now maybe I'm going to have some coffee to stimulate my adrenaline, and I get a little more done, and then I need another rest. Like that, like spurts of energy is often a sluggish and stressed, but we're going to know for sure when you get the book and do the questionnaire, and when you and definitely you could do the cortisol and adrenaline panel to know, and then I can guide you from there.
Something a lot of people don't know is that too much stress can actually create an abundance of health problems like high blood pressure, high blood sugar, anxiety, migraines, insomnia, even fertility issues. This is because high stress puts your adrenal glands on overload. They release cortisol and adrenaline, which controls your digestion, hormones, immune system, energy, focus, and even your emotional response. So how can you beat stress when you don't know where to start? That's why we have a free 7-day stress reset program. It's designed to help support weight loss, digestive healing, and hormone balancing. It includes support for integrating self-care, daily tips come to you by email and video, gluten-free, dairy-free meal plans, as well as grocery shopping lists, journal pages, and more. This free program will help you beat stress and put you on the path to wholeness in your body. Get your plan now for free at drdoni.com.
The fifth stress type is tired and wired. They have the opposite of sluggish and stressed. They have high adrenaline and low cortisol. So here, they might have a bunch of, with all that adrenaline, they got a lot of get up and go. They can get up and do their workout and prayer and check a bunch of things off their list, but then they start to lose steam as the day goes on and they're like ready for bed really early. So this is the tired and wired. They also tend to have a lot of anxiety because they have a lot of adrenaline. And adrenaline, while it's important to give us some oomph and to get us going, if we have too much adrenaline, it's going to make our mind go too fast. It's going to make you feel anxious and may make your heart race, heart palpitations can happen with high adrenaline. You see what I mean? So once we identify, is your cortisol too high or low? Is your adrenaline too high or low? Then I can guide you on how to address it. There's so much and such cool tools we can use. For example, if I know your cortisol is too high, I'm going to recommend the herbs that help decrease it, things like ashwagandha or the nutrient phosphatidylserine. You'll read about it in the Master Your Stress book, and you're going to find those products on my website at drdoni.com in the store. We have ashwagandha, and we also have phosphatidylserine, amongst other products that are intended to help lower your cortisol when it's too high. But that's not going to be the right treatment for blah and blue. They don't need to lower their cortisol. They need to raise their cortisol. So they need a completely different set of herbs and nutrients, including potentially rhodiola, holy basil, Siberian ginseng, glycyrrhiza. These are herbs, plants from earth that actually help our adrenal glands make more cortisol. Also, vitamin C and B vitamins are really good for helping the adrenal glands recover when they've really gone burned out and dropped the levels too low. So this is in a combination. My product is called Adrenal Support because it helps the adrenals to make more cortisol and adrenaline. You see what I mean? That's not the right product if you're a stress magnet, but it is the right product if you're a blah and blue, and it's potentially going to work for sluggish and stressed and tired and wired, but only once they've addressed high cortisol, high adrenaline. And this leads me to talk about the stress recovery protocol. The concept here is to understand that you can't just correct your stress all at once. It's not going to work to just throw everything in at once. That's not our way our body recovers from stress. Believe me, I tried it myself. I'm like taking everything and I am feeling worse. I'm like, how is this supposed to work? So I had to figure out that you can't just recover from stress by throwing in a bunch of different things all at once. We have to do it in a process. And that's also what's in part 3 of the Master Your Stress book. We go through the stress recovery protocol based on your stress type, every detail of understanding how to do it, including herbs, nutrients, self-care, and dosing, and explaining, okay, here's how you do this. What you need to do is first calm and get out of stress mode. If cortisol is too high, if adrenaline is too high, if your neurotransmitters are too low, we've got to address that first, your calming neurotransmitters. Then, once you've got your system calmed out of stress mode, now we can rebalance what's too low. Now we can rebalance even your digestion, heal leaky gut, balance your gut bacteria, help your other hormones get back on track, help your immune system work well again, and get your adrenals corrected if your cortisol or adrenaline are too low. You see what I mean? So this second phase is all about rebalancing and reoptimizing. Once we get there, then we can move on to resiliency, which is phase 3 of the stress recovery protocol. In phase 3, it's all about how do we maintain optimal cortisol and adrenaline levels even while we're living our lives, doing our thing, living our passion, thriving, and we're gonna have stress. It's gonna happen. We all know we just came through this pandemic, and now we all have what I'm calling post-pandemic syndrome, where we're now having to go through a new change in our life. We're having to figure out, how do we live after surviving this pandemic? What is my job need to change? Is my home need to change? Is my commuting going to be different? What's happening with my family? What do I really want to do with my life now that I survived this pandemic? That means that we're up for more unknowns and more change and more stress. So we need to be resilient. We need to be resilient in order to improve our longevity, prevent infections, prevent other health issues. And that's what I really want for you, is to get to that phase 3 resiliency, because I've seen it from my patients. I get so excited, and I've experienced it for myself. I don't think I would be able to write this book or be giving you this information if I hadn't figured out how to get to resiliency, because there's a lot of stress that comes with even doing something that we feel excited and passionate about. And so the key I find is I have to know my stress type and know how to keep my cortisol and adrenaline optimal based on my stress type. I also have to be implementing what I call SelfCare. CARE is an acronym that stands for clean eating, adequate sleep, recovery activities, and exercise. And we're going to be able to modify CARE based on your stress type. That's what you get in the book as well. And that's what you can get this week during my stress reset. Now you can get the stress reset even other times of the year. But this week, because the book is just coming out, I'm doing a live stress reset. So any of you who are listening right now, please join me. All you need to do is just go to drdoni.com/self-care. And when you go to drdoni.com/self-care, you can sign up for this self-care stress reset. And you can join us even if it's partway through the week. Of course, we have recordings. I would love for you to join in anytime, because I'm going to be helping you develop your self-care routine, which is your day-to-day taking care of you, prioritizing you so that you can become resilient to stress. And even if you're listening to this later, then still come to the website, because you'll still be able to do the stress reset, and even if it's a recorded version. So please come. Let me help you get started. Let me help you learn how to become resilient to stress and to know that it's possible. And the cool thing is, when you become resilient to stress, you're also preventing all kinds of different health issues, and you're getting to the root cause of it all, right? That's the key. There's many people I talk to who say, I take a medication for my blood pressure, but I'd really rather not have to take a medication. What if we could get it to where your body doesn't have high blood pressure? Then you don't need the medication anymore. Your doctor is going to be like, hey, your blood pressure's fine. You're good, right? We're not going to just take away the medication if you need it, but we can take away this cause, which is the stress and balance of your cortisol and insulin and cortisol and adrenaline. We balance your cortisol and adrenaline. We get everything back on track, your blood pressure comes back to normal. And that's just an example. There's so many health issues that can resolve simply by addressing your stress type. So I want you to know this. I feel like it's my mission to share this information, because you're not going to get it most places, most doctors' offices, even from other holistic practitioners. They haven't done this, because it's based on my research and identifying the stress types and the stress recovery protocol. So please connect with me. Let me help you. Come get the stress reset, and explore on my website more, where you can find more episodes of How Humans Heal. You can find the supplements that I've mentioned. You can find free masterclasses and online programs. So join me and let me guide you, because I know you can recover from stress. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to How Humans Heal. If you liked this episode, leave a rating and a review. And for more resources, visit drdoni.com.